Sometimes the best place in the world to get your dream reptile that you can't figure out where to get is at a reptile expo. So I'm here in Toronto and I'm gonna get a reptile that I literally made a video that I couldn't ever afford, and today it's coming home with me. My name's Adam, this is a leaf about to be thrown at me. You're watching Wickens Wicked Reptiles, stick around. I always talk about community at these events and these expos, and that's what it is. It's about the reptile community. You get to meet people that you never met before. You get to learn things from readers who are excited to talk to you. But also, it doesn't matter if you're from the same country. The guy who started the entire thing for YouTubers like me, who is a huge part of this hobby and this community, is being honored at an event that is 5 hours away. We're nowhere near Detroit. We're not even in the same country, but this transcends borders. So it doesn't matter if you're not from the US or you're not from Canada or Europe. Maybe you're some guy in Indonesia or Finland or somewhere where there's not a huge demand for this type of thing. You can be at these expos with us, and in spirit, Brian's here, and you can be too. So I'm with Evan. Evan, this is one of the coolest snakes I've ever seen. Can I pick him up? Yeah. So part of the cool part about going to these reptile expos is you get to get, it's not your first reptile, right? You've had reptiles before, but you get a brand new reptile, and obviously, Evan, you did research before, so if I asked you, how are you going to keep this animal? When you go home, what does it go into? There's a test, a tank. That's exactly right. It goes into a tank.
That is correct.
So, what does this animal eat, Evan?
Rats and mice.
Rats and mice. See? Evan knows everything. That's because he watches Wickens Wicked Reptiles. So if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be as smart as Evan, and you can come to these reptile expos, and your dad will also let you get a beautiful banana ball python. Evan, thank you so much. And next week, we'll be indoctrinating more kids about animals. I'm here with a very famous DVM, possibly the most famous reptile doctor of all time. DVM, that's your legal name, right?
Right. What's up, gamers?
DVM, I heard that if I touch a reptile, I will 99% chance get salmonella and die. Is that true?
Yeah.
So if we're being more realistic here, if a child were to come to an expo, do their parents have to worry about them dying of salmonella poisoning if they touch a reptile?
Very unlikely. Like we would recommend with everything, wash hands before handling the reptile, wash hands after handling the reptile, and don't bring it close to your face or kiss it or anything.
So it's basically like a dog? And I have another question for you too. Someone told me once that mealworms will eat their way through the stomach of a bearded dragon. Is that true?
It's not true.
Okay.
Sometimes it can go the other way. If you have a sick animal and you leave soup worms or something else in the cage, occasionally they'll eat from the outside in, but again, there typically have to be something wrong with the reptile in the first place.
Last question, bearded dragons. These are all the things that I say, but people don't believe me because I'm not a DVM. Is it true that if you put a bearded dragon on naturalistic substrate, they will not spontaneously combust of impaction?
I have never seen a bearded dragon with impaction. 6 years as a vet, 13 years in veterinary clinics, I've never seen it. I think if you have a problem, it's probably because you're not supplementing properly.
Last question. So geckos and chameleons, will they drink standing water, or if they're drinking standing water, is it because you're not misting enough?
Like with everything, there are going to be exceptions. It's pretty unlikely for most chameleons and other animals like that to drink standing water, but sometimes they will. I know there are videos out there. I just make sure that there's lots of misting available. You can add a cup of water if you want.
Thank you for coming to my segment called I Am Not a Doctor, but DVM is, and all of those things that I said were true. Thank you very much for your comments and boosting the algorithm. I'm here with the least smelly creator at the expo. This is Foddy, Daffy's Reptiles.
I smell good.
Daffy's Round Table smells excellent also.
Yes.
So Foddy, of all the reptiles you've seen here today, which one reminds you most of your childhood when you first got involved in reptiles, first got your love for reptiles?
Okay, completely blindsided me with this question. Very, very good question. I was not expecting this. I haven't gotten really a chance to look around much, but what I will say is one of the turtle species, because I started with reduced sliders, and obviously, so the closest thing would be a turtle species that I have not seen yet, but I will find one for you.
Would you say it's fair to say that even if you're not a child, you can come as an adult and relive your childhood vicariously through the people who are buying these animals and showing these animals off at Reptile Expo?
Absolutely, 100%. I relive my childhood every time we're at the Reptile Expo. I'm like a 5-year-old running around, and even though I didn't buy any animals this time, as you said, I'm getting to live through you and through the other people that bought their animals, and I'm super excited for you all, and I can't wait to see you set them up.
And someone told us that if I wanted to go somewhere in the Middle East, I should go to Pakistan, because there's leopard geckos everywhere. So we'll talk about that in another episode.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so just maybe hit subscribe. We might go to Pakistan.
I like that idea. Let's go to Pakistan.
Thanks. All right. Bye. So, Mike, I met you at a Reptile Expo.
Yes,
And now-
2019.
yeah, and then now we go places, right?
We do.
So if you had to say one thing about meeting people or the experience of going to Reptile Expos, besides the fact that there's reptiles here,
Yeah.
what's your favorite part or the biggest takeaway from Reptile Expos?
Has to be just community and connecting with people. It means the most to the hobby when we're all together, and that's what we need. We don't need more division. We need people to come together and go to Costa Rica together.
So
That's
if
what
you
it
were to
is.
say you could choose to either scream at people because they have wrong opinions on the internet and Facebook groups,
That is
or
fun.
meet people at expos and then become friends with them and then make a better reptile hobby, which would you choose?
That one.
That's Mike Taitula. He's the shortest reptile YouTuber in Canada. Thanks, Mike.
Later.
Well, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, I would love you to do it.
I got bit by two with. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get bit.
You're a wild. Oh, that is beautiful.
I picked this one because of the white,
Nelson, that one's.
and this one is your male.
That's exactly the one I would have wanted.
You're gonna. This one's gonna get me. No, I'm gonna. Now I want to do it. I'm not gonna let her bully me.
Yeah, you're coming out.
Nelson, you're a wild man, dude. Dude, that is gorgeous.
Again, I picked for the white.
What a beautiful snake. So, Jonathan, I just made a video
Yes.
called Reptiles That I Can't Afford. And in the video were Amazon basins, but I got the next best thing.
You did.
And why are these so special? What makes these different than everything else that we have in Canada?
So for the basins in general compared to the regular emeralds, you're going to get a little bit of a bigger, a little bit of a calmer snake, but with much more nice white contrast than say the Suriname, for example. And then being a kind of a more difficult snake to breed, being an arboreal boa that's got a good size, it's a bit of a specialty thing. It seems to be one of those animals that just doesn't really produce year after year like some of the other reptiles.
So thanks to Tails and Scales for bringing these amazing animals here to the Reptile Expo. John, thanks very much.
No
Appreciate
problem.
you talking to
Yep,
me about it.
as usual.
And you gotta hit the subscribe button now because now I have Emerald Tree Boas and nobody else does. So I'll see you in the next one. So what the heck is this thing? And what are these things? Well, I ended up getting some of my dream reptiles, which you've probably already seen in the video, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about them, why I think they're amazing, why I wanted them, and why last week I did a video about how I couldn't afford emerald green tree boas, and now I have emerald tree boas. Emerald green tree boas? Why did I? Okay, you know what I'm trying to say. We'll talk about this guy first. So this is a Europlatus fimbriatus, or a giant leaf-tail gecko. Now he's called a leaf-tail gecko because, well, he's got a leaf tail for a tail, a leaf for a tail. Either way, you guys have seen, especially if you've watched the videos that I made from Madagascar, is I found leaf-tailed geckos in the wild before. Now, a lot of leaf-tailed gecko species come from Madagascar, and this is one of those species. This is the largest or second largest of the leaf-tail species, and this is my favorite one. Because obviously, look at these freaking eyes. These eyes are unbelievable. And the reason I never got a fimbriatus or a pair, which is what I wanted, but only could get one because they were in such high demand, is just I didn't think they were as handleable and as chill as they are. And this guy is super chill. Not only that, but I never really realized, because I haven't looked up close enough, these guys almost look like they have a caiman head. When I posted this on Instagram, which you can follow right here if you want, it seemed like everybody thought this was a caiman up close. Now those eyes obviously look a lot different, but with that nose, that kind of snout, I see why. So an animal that we're gonna try to rehydrate pretty well because they came in from Madagascar and he's a little bit dehydrated, but they're insectivores and he's gonna start eating bugs, which he already has. We're gonna set him up upstairs, which is gonna be the quarantine area. And just overall, I'm super excited that I got one of my dream species, and I was informed by people who have them, hey man, they're way more chill than you think. Just because you saw a couple of videos of them trying to bite somebody, you can pick these out, hand them to a child under supervision, and you don't have to worry too much about them being too cantankerous. And that's what I was worried about, and it turns out part of going to Reptile Expos is being proven wrong over and over and over, and that's a good thing. Now they do jump, so I have to be a little bit careful. And I'm glad that I was wrong about this animal, because now I own it, and the only thing that was holding me back, I wasn't correct about in the first place. But if you want to talk about cantankerous animals, let's talk about emerald tree boas. Holy cow, these animals will bite you. And it's not because they're mean, they want to hurt you. They're nervous. These are animals that start off super duper tiny, and they're going to be an arboreal animal that has a very delicate spine in comparison to a lot of other snakes. So this is an animal that, although it doesn't get super big, is robust, but not robust enough that I would handle it the same way I would handle, say, a ball python or something like that. This is an animal you do have to be pretty careful about, and that's why I think that they're so cantankerous. They're just nervous. So they're going to use those teeth, which, by the way, are the biggest teeth of any non-venomous snake in the world, to protect themselves. And I think that it's really important that you respect them, and this is more of an animal for display. So have them upstairs. They're together right now. It's a pair, a male and a female, but I'm going to separate them, and I'm going to give them much larger enclosures, something that's maybe 4 by 4 by 2 feet deep, something like that. Because although they're not that big, I love that they're arboreal, and I want to watch them move around. And I might even cohab them with dart frogs, because these are a Suriname variety, or northern, so they come from Suriname, and most of the tinctorius dart frog species come from this area too. I love cohabs, you know it. So I want to hear from you. Do you guys go to Reptile Expos? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, a special thank you to the Patreon supporters. You guys are freaking amazing. Everything I do, I show there early, including animals like this. So for as little as $1 a month, you can be part of the Patreon club too. And that's it. I do videos Mondays and Thursdays, so I'll see you in the next one.